good evening and welcome back to the next episode of Shooting the Shit, a Tottenham talk show with me, Lee, the Dorset Spur. This week we will be talking about that shameful defeat against Newcastle. Very unfair in my opinion. But anyway, that's that aside. We'll be talking about that. We'll be looking ahead at the semi-final against Liverpool as well. If you've got any comments or questions, please feel free to put them into the comment section. We do read those as we go, and we'll try to share those on screen. Tonight, I have alongside me Sweary Alex. Hello, Alex.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Alongside Alex, we have Mason. All right, Mason, you feeling better?
Yeah, feeling a lot better today. A lot better.
Like me, Mason's not been very well. He's had the terrible lurgy, so he didn't actually make it to the game. But he's our eyes on the TV to give that perspective. And also, I have with me Jason from South Dorset Spurs back again, standing in for Dean, who can't be with us this evening. Hey, Jay, you all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, Lee. Thanks for having us back on, mate. It's good to be back. Thanks.
No, I really appreciate you stepping in, mate. It's really good to have you here. Always good to hear your views. Like Alex and myself, you was at the game as well. So three perspectives from being at the game and one perspective watching it on TV. Hopefully we can kind of give our views on it and see what you guys think, whether you agree with us or disagree with us or whatever it is. I do have one quick announcement I'm going to make. I'd like to send out a big congratulations to my number one son, Bradders, who today had his newborn baby, a little girl. We're all over the moon and chuffed with that. Baby and mother are doing well, so congratulations, Bradders. And we'll see the new one very, very soon. Anyway, on with the show, and let's talk about Tottenham versus Newcastle. Jason, let me come to you first. First question. How was you feeling ahead of the game, and what was your expectations from it? I know what mine were.
Oh my goodness! So I was at the Spurs Liverpool game where we lost 6-3, and I thought, oh my goodness, it could be a repeat of that. Newcastle flying high at the moment. I think they were about fifth or top five, top six. They're on a roll, and I thought, oh my goodness, we've got so many injuries. We are going to get absolutely smashed. So I went into the game with zero expectations. I went and enjoyed the day and the lead up to the match. Went into the game, saw the team sheet and thought, well, if these boys can't get it going, no one can. All the youngsters are on the pitch, pretty much. And they want to prove me wrong, which is great to see. Unfortunately, we came out the back end of it with a loss, but it was not a deserved loss. No doubt we'll go into it through the evening. But I thought, going into the game, I just thought the worst. This Liverpool team are rolling people over. Liverpool team are rolling over people left, right, Chelsea, and they absolutely did one on us. And for us to be open like that again against Newcastle, I expected the goals to fly in. So, yeah, my expectations were not high at all.
Yeah, Alex, what was your view? I know we met up and shared a beer before the game, and I think you were probably like myself and similar to Jason. You wasn't expecting too much out of the game, or?
No, not really. I mean, we were all a bit, we're going to get smashed. We're going to get smashed.
Yeah.
We all was all still on the same hymn page, weren't we, really? I was looking forward to seeing Newcastle as a team. And I was very disappointed with them. They're a bunch of cheating bastards, but there you go. That I'm sure we'll talk about that later on. But no, expectations were low. But then when we saw the team, and I don't know if it's just me, when we saw the lineup, I just thought, well, it's still a good team, to be honest with you. I know there's a few mismatches there, but I was still looking forward to the game. So yeah, I was looking forward to the game. Expectations were low, but I thought the boys did all right. I was quite pleased. Not as pleased, obviously, because we lost, but I was pleased with their performance. I think we're showing that if we've got a weak team or a younger team or an experienced team, we can still, bring a fight to a fight, sort of thing. So it was good.
That's what you want, right? You at least want them to show a bit of heart and a bit of effort and stuff like that. Mason, just coming to you. Obviously, you watching it on the TV, and you would have seen or listened to the commentators and all the rest of it. So, just from your point of view, what was your expectations like?
expectations going into the game, like many of us, just not very optimistic at all. Newcastle, as you say, are flying high. Coming off the result of Liverpool and Wolves and so on, I was not expecting a lot. But there's one thing you can expect whenever Spurs and Newcastle are playing, as a prime Barclays game. I'll tell you that there's always ups, there's always downs, there's always controversy. That's one thing you can always get out of Spurs Newcastle, but the result is one thing you can't really get down to a two.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kind of almost felt like it was not a free hit, but kind of almost like if we get something out of this game, I'll be happy. But if we lose it, I'm not going to be as upset as I might have normally been, I guess. And I don't know whether that's just because we've been going through such a difficult patch with losses that I'm almost become immune to it, and you kind of expecting something like that and trying not to get upset and not to get really disappointed or whatever. Jason, coming back to you, Brandon Austin getting his first start. How did you feel he got on? Because it was a bit of a shock him getting in after all this time. Excuse me, but obviously with Forster being ill, didn't even make it. So obviously needed to step up.
Yeah, and I think he did. I mean, the moment he stepped onto the pitch and was warming up, he was receiving such a fantastic reception from the crowd, and that must have buoyed him a lot. And I've got friends that go to a lot of the under 21s and all the other games like that, and seen him develop over the years. And that was his moment. That was his chance to shine, and he pretty much put into the spotlight. Couldn't have been any worse sort of situation, really. And I think he grabbed it straight away, and it was absolutely fantastic. His command of the ball in the box, you could almost argue that it was some ways better than Vicario. I mean, Vicario is a great shot stopper, but we've missed that guy jumping for the ball in the box and trying to get the ball, and then that fast transition of throwing the ball out and getting everything moving again. We've missed that with Forster, who seems to be, he's a great lump in the goal. We all know that, and he saved us a few times. But we all know that he isn't our number one, and he's probably shouldn't be anywhere near our number one, to be honest with you. But seeing the lad come in and the reception he received, and especially at the end of the game, I think a lot of people were talking about him being man of the match, which is justified. I think he really took advantage of the situation in a positive way, and I think the others would probably agree with that.
I think he's going to be a bit disappointed now, right? With another keeper coming in, though, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I've waited so many years to get his chance. But sorry, Alex, you were going to say.
Well, so we don't know, do we? I was just going to say, I know he's a new signing, and I don't know if he's ready to play for us or not. But I think, well, we know that's going to happen. But like Jason's just about to say, sorry, it's going to be a shame because I think we should give him a bit more limelight. I think he did really well. But go on, sorry, carry on.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say he's with the home crowd again. And if that G's him up and gets him to another great performance, let's face it, if we're facing Liverpool, even in their B team, he's going to have to step up, isn't he? So, let's see how we go. This lad's been training with us since he arrived from Sparta Prague or wherever he's come from. But he'll probably be on the bench, I suspect, and maybe Brandon will get his second chance. Let's see.
Hope so.
Yeah,
Hope so.
there's a question there from Nigel. Like, who do you think is going to be in goal tomorrow? Is it going to be Austin? Is it going to be Forster? Or is it going to be Kinski, the new one? I know he Andrew's hinted that Kinski is available, but again, literally only just got here, and with Austin doing so well, you've got to think he's got to retain his place for the match, surely,
I think Austin. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say the defence are just getting used to Austin. The defence are fragmented, and it is that they're used to him from Saturday and the way he works, and bring another person in to try another different setup potentially could put the team at risk, I think. So maybe we need that little bit of continuity, even just for a couple of games.
Yeah, Alex, you go with Austin. You think that's the right decision?
Yeah, I think we should go with him. Give the guy a chance. I think we said a few weeks previously, didn't we, about all these opportunities that are coming up for these younger players or players with no experience can only be a good thing because every time they're getting into the team, they are trying their best. They're not, they want to be there. They want to try and keep that position for as long as they can. So, and we've seen that over the weeks, haven't we? So I think, yeah, give him another go. Give him another go. Help the guy out. I think the new guy, he's not going to be settled, is he? Really? He's going to be just as nervous. He's going to be nervous. Forster can just put his slippers back on, as far as I'm concerned, and let the other two battle it out. But no, I reckon we should play. I reckon we should play him again. I was pleased for him to see it because he's Dean's mate, isn't he? He always has a quick chat with Dean, doesn't he? Dean always gets his top. But I was pleased to see him, and I thought he played well. So yeah, let's start him tomorrow.
I did think he kind of mixed it up a little bit. He was playing out from the back, which I know is totally another subject that we could probably do a whole podcast on, right? But he also went long a fair bit, and he also threw the ball out a fair bit. So it did feel like there was a little bit more variation to kind of to what was available. And I'm with you guys. I think let's have Austin on. Let's see how he gets on. Let the other guy kind of come in and fill things out and see how the stadium is and all that kind of business and get on the bench and see what's going on. So for me, I think let's stick with Austin and see what he can do. Mason, I'm going to come to you next question. Spurs scored the first goal. Diving header from Solanke, great cross from Porro, and the driving run obviously coming through from Bergvall that kind of started the whole thing off. What was your view on that? Seeing it on the TV, was it as good as it looked in the stadium?
Oh yeah, no, it was very impressive. Very impressive. You can see that's what they're working on in training, mainly because of we saw that exact same goal against Chelsea. Obviously not with the head though, but it was the crossing from Porro. They are practicing Solanke breaking that final line in defence, if you will, going near post. Like they are practicing that, and it seems that it's going to be an issue for teams coming forward. But Solanke again, he seems like he does more work off the ball than he does with the ball. But then again, he's still putting them in the back of the net. I think Solanke was a great signing for Spurs. I also think Porro's attacking output the entire game was shown off quite well. But then again, on the defence with Gordon, Gordon, he got the goal on the counter. It's very, very mismatched for Porro. But then again, as I say, great performance from Solanke. He's a workhorse. What more can you say?
Yeah, that was my kind of. I'll stick with you because we're talking about it, right? But what did you think of Solanke's overall performance? I wrote work rate and effort. I don't think you can kind of knock him, can we? From that point of view,
you can't at all. He puts in the most effort in the team, I'd personally say. Whilst we have got Van der Ven out, who obviously is the legs of the defence, but whilst right now, and it has been for several weeks now, is that Solanke seems to be the glue in between the midfield and the attack. He doesn't stop running. He makes so many good plays for our wingers, and he's just a threat going forward on and off the ball. I think he again, obviously we didn't get the 3 points, but it's just another game where Solanke is showing what he can do and what he can bring to the team.
I find it quite disappointing. Sometimes I don't know, for the death of me, I don't know why I do it, but I do kind of go through Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it now, and sometimes I read the comments and I can't understand what people are watching, if I'm honest. Some of the stuff I see, especially about Solanke, not scoring enough goals, not good enough, £65 million waste of money and blah, blah, blah. And I know it's all about opinions, but I do think he's been a good buy for us. And I think it's something we've really cried out for a long time. The disappointing thing is obviously he's our only striker because of what's happened with Richarlison. Which is the disappointing thing because he has to play. He's pretty much having to play every game, and that can't be any good for him either. Alex, let me come back to you. So Bergvall in the centre alongside Sarr, an 18-year-old alongside a 22-year-old in the centre against a tough Newcastle team. What did you make of Bergvall's performance?
I think he did very well again. I mean, I like you just said earlier, sometimes you don't know what people are watching or commenting on. But I just thought he did really well. Look, he's running all over the place. He knows where Sarr is. They're bouncing off of each other. I think they did well. They did well and created not a lot of chances, but we're moving up and down the pitch like they owned it at one point. So I thought that they worked quite well together.
I didn't think Bergvall got a lot of attention from Joe Linton. as well. There was a bit of a battle going on there. Joe Linton kind of knocked him around the head. To be honest with you, I like watching it back on Match of the Day. I didn't think it was as bad as maybe it kind of seemed at the time, because obviously you don't get the replays and stuff. But that was a real battle going on in there for a young lad. He didn't seem to shy away from it.
No, he got stuck right in. Like I say, the younger, like I said, when we look at the team listing, we're all doubtful at the beginning, but they're all playing their socks off. They're all doing the best they can. You know, and like you just said, he didn't back down from it. He took it on board and he did the best he could. So you know, I think he did well. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I mean he did do well, and there was audible boos when he went off for Madison. Although to be fair, I thought Madison did really, really well, and I think I think with Madison being out for the semi-final, it makes sense for him to kind of play some part of that game and to kind of give Bergvall just a feeling, because I think he's likely to play on Wednesday. So yeah, it did make sense. So I think the overall crowd in the stadium felt that he did well. So I don't think you're on your own in saying that he had a decent game. You know.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, like I say, these youngsters, they get into these positions now. You know, the opportunity, and they're trying to shine as much as they can. So,
yeah.
But like I said, when Madders come on, I mean, he helped change the game. But I'd have to talk about that later. He just didn't stop. But yeah, no, look, you know, good luck to them all. That's what I'm saying. I find it interesting to watch. And all these, every week is, you know, interesting to me just to see how it all unfolds, because it's not been the most easiest season for us, is it really? So,
no.
Mix and match.
It's a difficult one, right?
Yeah, mix and matching out these new and old players. I think it's, you know, not, you know, we can always do better, but I think they're doing the best they can, and it's a good job.
Yeah. Jason, let me come to you and talk to you about the Joe Linton handball. Did you? I'll let you all kind of comment on it after. But Jason, just to start with you, Joe Linton handballs, or the balls played towards him from Bergvall. He was kind of chasing it down. He looked to me. He kicked the ball, hits Joe Linton's hand, which changes the direction of the ball. The ball goes out to. I can't think of his name. Tonelli, was it?
I thought it went to Anthony Gordon in the end, didn't it?
And then it went to Gordon, who kind of puts the ball away. You know, handball for you, or do you think his hand was down by his side and just accidental?
The trouble is, there's no consistency with the rules anymore. You look at if you watch the game the next day at Man United Liverpool, and you saw the handballs and free kicks that were given in that game, as opposed to ours, it's just absolutely no consistency. The fact is, we were doing a crossfield ball to create a chance for ourselves. The ball has been sent from right to left. We would have been on the break and potentially been in a goal scoring situation. He had his arm out to the side. He stopped the ball, literally stopped the ball. That's what the crowd went absolutely mad. The ball came to his feet. He passed it, went to Gordon in the end, and they scored. And how VAR and the referee on the ground, I mean, he'd lost control early doors anyway. And it was chaotic at the beginning of the match due to his levels of incompetence. But it completely changed the dynamic of the game. And for me, you know, that's the whole point. If he handballs it and stops the ball, no matter where he is, surely it should go to us to have a free kick or in our advantage. And I just find it astonishing. It's just no consistency. As I say, you watch the game the next day for Liverpool and United, and the amount of times they gave it, you know, gave a free kick, and we just weren't getting anywhere near it in our match. And yes, you can say it was a little bit levelled by the tackle by Kulu in the box on their player, and they should have had a penalty, blah, 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 levellers and all the rest of it. But that was a key moment in the game. You know, we just gone one up. And they then levelled, and as I say, it changed the dynamic. So it was really disappointing to see, and it's all right having them mic'd up and trying to explain it as they're going to do tonight, potentially in the Carabao Cup first semi-final. They're going to announce it to referees what's going on. I think we received the information maybe 10 minutes after the event on the big screens.
Yeah.
So maybe that will be a bit of a sea change in the way some of the processes and dynamics of how things are rolled out by the referee and the decision making going forward. Because for me, it just spoilt the game at that point. You know, and it went against us, which is never good. So,
Yeah.
it was our opportunity to score potentially.
I mean, if you had that going against you the other way, so if that had been our player and we'd have scored from that, you'd have been gutted if that had been disallowed, though, right? I get. So I can kind of understand why the Newcastle fans are, poo-pooing the idea that this was a deliberate handball. But for me, it was more about the fact that it changed the direction of the ball and kind of moved it directly into their player. Who took advantage of it. And I also felt like our players seemed to stop because they were convinced it was a handball. Mason, you were obviously watching on the TV. So from your point of view, did you see that any differently? I mean, what was the commentary type thing saying at the time?
Originally, I mean, don't get me started on the commentary. I had to turn it down because Ali McCoy does my head in. But the only other thing that it was watching the game is that when it slowed it down, you're like, if you can go back now, not a lot of people notice this. Jonathan's hand is by his side. He moves it into the ball. He changes it. He controls it with his hand. If you go back and watch it now, not a lot of people see it. It's a split second, but his hand goes into the ball, controls it. He goes on. But at the same time, before seeing that, I thought the goal should stand just because that Bergvall was 5 yards away from him and he has kicked it into his hand. If it was the other way around, we would be saying, well, that's not our fault he's booted it into his hand. That's not our fault. If it was the other way around, it's like I've said since the start of the year, I go off for decisions where would I be pissed off if it was the other way around? And until I saw that Joelinton hand move this morning, all weekend I've been sitting there going, the goal should have stood. I don't know why everyone's moaning. Because the ball was booted into his hand. But now seeing Joelinton's reaction and moving his arm into the ball to control it, 100% the goal should have been disallowed. He's used it to his advantage. 100%.
I mean, if it's just given by the referee, right, without any VAR, you can kind of go, fair enough. But when they're looking at it on VAR at every angle and all the rest of it, that's the bit that really annoys people. And I get the point that Jason's made about consistency and stuff as well, which is a good point. Alex, I'll come to you, right? I'm going to change tactics slightly.
I was fucking fuming.
It was the same about the Newcastle Gordon penalty, right? He got a nose, broken nose in that apparently. It looked to me, from where I'm sitting and I'm the other end of the ground, that they kind of just run into each other. Gordon's turned into Kulu. Kulu's moving and he's hit him in the face, right? No penalty given. They didn't even stop the game or whatever, and we played on from it. And yet the next day or later on that day, when Arsenal were playing and they got a penalty, or the Brighton got a penalty for when they're both headering a ball away, and you think to yourself, I can really understand. Not often that I'll sympathise for Arsenal fans, but you can understand why they'd be really pissed off with that, right? Because if Gordon's not a penalty, how is that a penalty? And it comes back to this point about consistency. What did you make of the Gordon one? Did you think it was a penalty?
No, Kulusevski's a solid lump, isn't he? You've seen the size of that geezer's nose. I mean, it was straight into his shoulder. So Kulusevski did stop, and he's probably like, hitting a brick wall. But I don't think it was intentionally done. I think it's just one of those things. He's just run into him, and when you've got a nose like that, it is going to break. But the first goal, like Mason said, he controls it with his hand. I mean, I'm watching it now. He fucking controls it with his hand, and he looks at Gordon as he's hitting it. And so the ref, well, I mean, what was we all advising? Can we have a referee? Because he was absolutely shocking. He was. I hope he's not watching this because he was shit. He really needs to just go back to his daytime job of being a bloody traffic warden or whatever he does. Right? He was absolutely rubbish. But you can see blatantly he changes the direction of the ball with his hands and looks at Gordon, and then it just goes from there. And as I said earlier, in the old intro, I was looking forward to seeing Newcastle, but just after that, they were just a bunch of fucking Geordie cheats.
But if you watch it week in, week out, Jonathan gets away with murder every week, and I do not understand why. If you go back to even 2 weeks ago, when he was pushing keepers to the floor and running away, he's escaping a booking. I don't know what it is with him, but he always seems to get away with everything.
He did that on Sunday as well, though, didn't he? And got away with it.
He does it every time. I don't understand. The refs turn a blind eye. For some reason, just Joe Linton, not the team, just Joe Linton. And I don't know why he does it every week.
I think Byrne as well was overloading our keeper. And kind of there was an awful lot of pushing and shoving going on, certainly in the first half. I did write it down in here that I felt that Newcastle tried to bully us in that game. First half felt like they bullied us, lots of fouls and all the rest of it. And did we think that was their tactic to kind of just rattle us and really give it give us a bit of a kicking? Because as I say, Joe Linton kind of had a little battle with Bergvall, and I thought he was lucky not to get a booking. To be honest with you, so interesting from that point of view. But did you think it was a tactic, Jason? Did you think that was their tactic to just kind of bully us and rile us up?
Yeah, first off, definitely. Byrne was all over Solanke all the time. We had the battles with Bergvall. There were battles all over the pitch. But in the second half, they flipped it. They were on their asses more than they were fighting. They were time wasted, and that showed at the end when they had 11 minutes of extra time at the end, because they were constantly on the floor. Whether that be the goalkeeper, whether that be the defenders, whether that be the strikers, midfielder, whoever, they all were playing a tactic of "I'm going down now," and they seemed, honestly, it felt like they had endless substitutions. Maybe they had 10 people they might have swapped in and out. That's what it felt like at the time, and it was really frustrating because we were starting to get a real grip of the game from about 75, 80 minutes on, and their tactic to disrupt and play the mind games or whatever, dark arts, they kicked it in big style. Yeah. And maybe we should have taken advantage in that 11 minutes of extra time, but we didn't.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, right, is that, to be honest with you, number one, I was surprised that we got 10 minutes of extra time. And I was surprised, actually, that he played 12 because they wasted 2 minutes of the extra time anyway. So that kind of, I was surprised that the ref did put that much time into it, which I think was good. I thought that was a good thing to do because actually, it was a real tactic to stop us playing and everything. Because as you say, we were building momentum, and I think they could sense that, and that's why they then did all that kind of really poor stuff. But ultimately, that's got to have been the right thing to do, right? From their point of view, it was the right thing to do, right?
Yeah, they knew we were on them. We were on him, right? We were turning the tide big style. Reginald had his chance. Madison had his chance where I think I put myself down about 4 or 5 steps in the south stand thinking that had gone in. And we were on the up, and then we just did take advantage. That's the crux of it.
How many times did they stop us? When as soon as we went for a break, like someone would pass us the ball, would break forward, and then someone would fall down and the referee would blow the whistle. Yeah. How many times did that happen? Again, the linesmen, they were just all crap. Every time we had a possibility of moving forward, breaking through, someone would fall down. It just really annoyed me that Newcastle were doing all those tactics, getting 10, 11, 12 minutes of extra time, keep falling over when we're on a break, just keep falling over in general. The goalkeeper, taking his time. The ref's got to get a grip and stop it because it's just not right. It's just not right.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just think, like, if you're looking at it from a neutral perspective, or you're looking at it from a Newcastle perspective, and I've had a couple of Newcastle fans comment on my own video that I did after the game, and they said that actually they felt that this was a harder game for them than they've been having. They felt this was a tough game that we played, and we actually did play quite well. And so the dark arts kind of stuff was really what was needed to get over the line. And to a certain extent, if this wasn't against us, you'd kind of applaud it and go, yeah, it was great in-game management by Howe. From our point of view, it's not the sort of thing I'd want to see. I don't want to watch that sort of football. If I'm honest, it just, that would really get on my nerves. I mean, you're almost just doing a Tony Pulis Stoke, aren't you?
It's embarrassing.
I don't really want to watch, because they've got good players. They've got good players. Just keeping on about the referee, the other one I wanted to talk about, Alex, and I'll ask you about this one, is Byrne with his second yellow, where he jumped in the air. He did like a star jump and gave a handball in the middle of the pitch. didn't get booked for it, and that would have been his second yellow and sending him off. Because that was a blatant handball, right? He did that on purpose, sure.
Again, just an absolutely shit show of a referee. Not the linesman. He was not right in front of him, but it was blatant. Everyone could see what he did, and yet the referees have not got the nuts to send someone off because he was under pressure anyway. The referee. I mean, he was shit. I mean, we was all asking, can we have a referee at one point, weren't we? But so I understand the pressure that he's under, but he just kept digging. He should have just sent him off, because it was just a pathetic star jump, wasn't it?
Well, it's a professional foul, right? Ultimately, it's a professional foul. He's done it on purpose to stop the momentum of the thing.
Of course,
surely that's not right.
No, exactly, and that's what they kept doing. I mean, if I was a Newcastle supporter, I'd be fucking embarrassed if we played like that. And I'm not saying we're squeaky clean and we never do, but when it's constant, it must be embarrassing for them. How can they walk down the road going, yeah, we'd turn them over when they've played like that? If they've given us 90 minutes plus of pure football, it's just a battle from one end to another, and then they walk away with the scoreline, which they did, then you can say, yeah, well deserved. But no way did they deserve, the score. They were pathetic. And when they come over to the sideline, we few of us made sure that they knew. Linton and everyone else. They were shit. It's not the Newcastle of the old days, for sure.
No.
Got great players, but they were just fucking embarrassing, So
is this how? I mean, I don't watch Newcastle. I haven't seen them. But is that how they play? Is that their normal? Is that their normal play? Mason, let me ask you because you probably know a bit more about it. I was going to say I'll ask Mason because he's a bit more cultured in terms of watching more football than us. But is that their tactic?
Yeah, that's how they play. That's how they play. And it's Joe Linton and Dan Burn. They're the same culprits every week. And even Gordon to a certain extent. People can't stand them three. Them three players every week, they go in just to get a reaction out of other players and so on. Imagine Richarlison at Everton. That's exactly what they do, but that's nearly their entire squad. They're all characters. Dan Burn especially, people should be more outraged the fact that he weren't sent off than the goal should have been disallowed. That was more of a referee blunder than it was because even with the goal, there is the rules say that is a goal. The rules in the Premier League say that is a goal. But also what Dan Burn done says that is a second booking. That is more of a blunder than the goal. I think that is how Newcastle play. They are, don't get me wrong, they can go around and they can smash teams to pieces. I think, what was it last season, same football. I think they won 9-0 at Sheffield. They play really good football. But when it comes down to crunch time and they're playing Spurs away, or they're playing Arsenal away, or they're playing City at home, you come to find that all of those results are much more closer. Like even Arsenal at the start of this season, might beat them 1-0. Liverpool, they had to come down to I think it was the last minute and they equalised. All of those games are so tight because of the way they play with the time wasting and the dark arts like they did against us. But they do it against all the top sides. When it's down to crunch time and they need points, that's what they do. And I find it quite embarrassing, really.
It is embarrassing. They're playing the scum now, aren't they? So,
well, it's working for them. So I guess
hats off. It's working.
Linton's just skied it. Frick.
Jason, let me come back to you because let's talk a bit more about Tottenham rather than Newcastle. So we started off with Sonny on the bench, and his replacement was obviously Timo Werner. What did you make of his performance?
Oh man, you always hope for that performance, don't you, from Timo? You always hope, don't you, that he's gonna do a miracle, but he rarely does. He put some good crosses in. He worked hard, missed a lot of tackles. Same Timo Werner, no change, unfortunately. Yeah. And when he went off, 70 odd minutes, I think it was, and he swapped over with Sonny, and Sonny linked up with Maddison. There was a big sea change, as we said earlier, with the way we were playing, and we were putting the pressure on. But he again, did he offer as much to Johnson? I mean, it's more Johnson than Timo Werner. I think the spotlight should have been placed upon him from that game, not really Timo Werner, because he offered a lot less, unfortunately, Johnson. So both wings didn't do a great deal, unfortunately. I mean, Porro's the one that put the awesome cross in. at the other end for Solanke, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they again, Johnson was missing. When he's not scoring, he just disappears, which is a great shame. So Timo Werner will have his moment. When that moment will be, I don't know. It's almost like Lucas Moura when he had his moment, and then I think he got a hat trick against Huddersfield or something. I think Timo Werner will have his moment in a cup match or something like that, and then follow up with something else, and that'll be it. Goodbye. See you later. Back to Germany.
Are we not saying that he had his moment against Man City where he scored that peach of a goal? That was his moment.
His follow-up was to sky it or something. Do you remember? I was at that game, and I think he skied it or something on the next one, and skied a few more. So, yeah, maybe that was his moment. Maybe it's past. But I can't sum up Timo Werner. It's probably the hardest thing in the world to do.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm with you. I like because the next question down again was where you've mentioned Brennan Johnson. I thought he contributed very little in the whole game, and like you say, if he's not scoring, he's not really doing anything. He's kind of just, he's kind of invisible in the game. I didn't really feel like he was an outlet at all.
No, not at all, and he wasn't linking up particularly well. He put a few crosses in, but again, he finds that he struggles to get past the man, or so frustrating because when he's on it in the good positions, he's scoring some fantastic goals when he does, but he's 90% predominantly missing from the game, and we can't afford to do that when everybody else is working so hard to give him the opportunities to be in the right positions to make a difference, and it's just not happening.
Yeah, I mean he did hit the post, I guess. So and the follow up from Sarr's daisy cutter that he did. Moving on to someone who I thought did have a good game. Alex, I'll come to you. Jed Spence moved into centre back with Radu going off not very well. How did you think he did? Picking up that yet another position.
Yeah, another position, another string to his bow. Well, again, he settled in and he got on with the game, didn't he? He got on with it, and we just pushed forward and. He did well. I just think he did well. I mean, go back to old Timo, though. I mean, just one thing, he's always standing on his own. He sometimes doesn't get the feed of the ball to create anything. And when he does do something. So because I was having a conversation with a guy, I know talking about him, and he was saying how crap he was. I was like, well, give him his chance because no one passes it to him. He's like the boy that nobody wants to pass the ball to, But no, Spence set it in quite well. I think, it was a fast-moving game and he did his job and he did his job well.
I mean, considering like he's, at the beginning of the season, we was expecting him to move on to Girona, right? But he's done enough. He's kept his space. He hasn't been able to play. I know he was out with an injury and that stopped that stopped Ange playing him. But since he's been about, he's now played right back, left back, centre back, and I don't think he's let us down at all. And it kind of just does beg the question about Ange not helping himself when he's getting all these injuries, when he's got players like that he just doesn't seem to or hasn't seemed to want to play.
Do you not think that being in positions that he's played him in makes him more of a versatile player? So he just gives us more options.
It does, but that's my point. Why has he not tried? Why has he not tried that previously? Why has he allowed us to end up with, all of our defenders out before he's kind of tried to rotate them? Yeah, Mason. Let me come to you, Mason. Right, because the next one on this is Reggie. Right, so Reggie comes in. Halfway through, picks up the left back position with Spence moving into centre back, and again he did okay. And he's been with us all season. He's not been injured. He's been available, and Ange hasn't played him to the point where we've ended up with Udogie being injured as well. Surely that could have helped, right? By just biting the bullet and giving the guy some game time. Yeah.
I mean, there was an interview at the start of the season when everyone was like, "Oh, Reguilon's still here. He hasn't been loaned out like he usually has." He let it slip to the news that Ange had even said to him when Ange first joined the club, he like a manager does, takes one person in the room. You're going to do this for me. You're not in my plan, so on. He said to Reguilon, "No, you're in my plans. You're going to play." But then obviously Man United came along and was like, "Oh, you will start for us." And then obviously injured straight for Brentford. I think that Ange has got a plan for Reguilon, but it's just you can't warrant that when you have got two other players who are better than you at the left back spot, which at the time when they're fully fit was Udigi and Van der Ven. Both of them are better than Reguilon, but Reguilon's not a bad football player. He's not at all. I mean, even when we had Conte, everyone was talking about how Reguilon's great, but we loaned him out instead, and I still don't know why.
I think he's better going forward. I think he might. He's a better attacking defender than he is defending defender. If you know what I mean.
I think that's all of our fullbacks. If I'm being honest. I think all of them are so much better going forward than they are defending. But
I just don't understand why he wouldn't have kind of picked him up previously, and kind of when you've got. He knows that Udogie needs a break. He knows that Spence is suspended. So why would you not just give Reggie that opportunity and save Udogie from getting the injury? Arguably, he probably gets the injury the next time he plays. But, it just doesn't make sense to me. I just feel like he's not helping himself in the argument of all the people kind of around him.
I think it just comes down to arrogance. I mean, even all of last year, Ange still now is a very arrogant man. Doesn't change for no one. Doesn't like being told what to do. He doesn't like other people's opinions on what he should do. He's a very arrogant man. Don't get me wrong, he's the bollocks. I love him, but he's very much so an arrogant man. In terms of if he's loaned Reguilon out, that's a message, isn't it? He hasn't done it once. He's done it twice. He's loaned him out, and now that he's come back and Reguilon's kind of the other way around, Reguilon's bit the bullet and he's gone right. If I can't get a club, I'm going to try and make my football here. And he's proven to everyone that he has got what it takes to play for Spurs. He's not a bad player. But I think it does come down to arrogance that Ange kind of tried to send him out, get him out of the club. But it's kind of backfired. We need a left back. He needs to play. And he's come in and he's shown Ange wrong. And I hopefully Reguilon has another chance to prove tomorrow night that he deserves to be in the squad.
I just think it's really interesting, right? I feel it feels like the fan base is very split. I mean, I don't know. I mean, in the ground on Saturday, for me, it felt like Ange had the support of the fans. There was I actually thought the atmosphere was quite good, and I felt like Ange has the support of the fans, certainly those in the ground. You go on social media, and of course, it's a totally different story. That there is a growing amount of influencers that are really against him, and it's stuff like this that doesn't help because you think Spencer was outside. He's come in. He's done really, really well. Bergvall hasn't really had his opportunities. He's come in and he's done really, really well. Reguilon, another one who's kind of who's not been used, but now he's come in and he's started to do well. And all of that kind of stuff just really impacts your view of Postecoglou in terms of him not utilising all of these players. If you've got these players available and you need to rotate them rather than working them to death, then surely that's the right thing to do. And I think this kind of just plays into that narrative.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know it was Ten Hag's United, but you don't send a player, you don't send a left back, a player that's not supposed to be in the limelight, but someone who is supposed to do their job and do it well. You don't go to Man United and become their best player or one of the best players. When he went, United fans are saying, this bloke was sitting on Spurs' bench. Why has he not had game time? Can we buy him? Can we do this? Can we do that? Reguilon isn't a bad player. He went to Man United. He tore it up for about 4 months until he got injured. And then that's when he had to leave and go to Brentford. It's just, I think it's just a very poor set of circumstances. And Reguilon kind of jumped at the chance to play for Man United because, not being funny, they are one of the biggest clubs in the world. So I think that's what he kind of done. But when we're getting halfway through the season, obviously he's been injured. It's December. I'm not going to play for Spurs this year. I need game time. Of course, he's going to go to Brentford. And even then, Brentford fans loved him. They thought he was brilliant. He's definitely got quality there. He just needs to keep proving to us that he needs to play.
Yeah. So I had a question. So I asked the guys, South Dorset Spurs guys, have you got any questions that you want us to debate or talk about on the podcast today? So I had a question from Bob Savage. Big shout out to Bob, who organises a lot of the travel for us to get to and from the games. Ex-chairman, along with Jason, the ex-chairman as well.
Don't you let Cat hear you say this.
Yeah. So this was Bob's question. How can we possibly be successful if every season half the squad are missing due to our horrendous injury list, due to mainly the training methods and high tempo match tactics? I love Ange, but just cannot see us winning fuck all if we have top players missing on a regular basis. He said second season the players would have physically adjusted to the high tempo training regime. In fact, it's got worse. Something has to change, be it the physio or the training methods. Please discuss. And I thought it was a really good point, right? Because he had these injuries issues in Celtic as well. But the idea is that you train hard, and you might pick up the injuries in the first season, but by the second season, you've kind of changed how your body reacts and so on, and you're strengthening and all the rest of it. Do we really think that the training is that hard that this is going to cause all these problems, or do we just think he's been really, really unlucky with these ones? The fact that it's just hit so many players.
No, I mean we had these problems with Conte, with Mourinho, with the amount of players who got injured. I think it's the medical department. It's not the manager. It's not the style. It's genuinely just the upkeep of players, because it happened with Conte. When we had Conte, do you remember Matt Doherty, Bentancur, so arguably two of the most important players that season, when we was pushing for the what was it? It was the year after we got top four, so 2022. Doherty was out, Sessegnon was out, Bentancur was out, Kane was out. It's not an issue that is going to go away if we sack Ange. It's been an issue since Mourinho left. We've always had these kind of problems, and every year we've had an injury crisis. It just seems to get worse and worse and worse. That's all it is. So until we sort the medical department out, I don't think we're going very far. It's not the regime. It's not, because you've got to think the worst time in terms of intensity for training was Conte's first pre-season, because everyone was talking about how knackered the players were. Son and Kane threw up twice on live TV because that's how intense the training was. It's got nothing to do with how intense the training is. It comes down to the upkeep of the players and the medical staff that have been there for 15 years and who have overseen about 10 plus medical crises. It's insane. It's got nothing to do with manager. Nothing.
Jace, just coming to you on this, right? Do you think that maybe the way that we monitor players' health as they're training and playing and all the rest of it, that we're missing something there, that we're letting them play more than they should do if their bodies are breaking down and all the rest of it?
There's a case of rushing them back because every game's so important. But we also got to remember some of these players were susceptible to injury before they even arrived at Tottenham. Our celebrated centre-back, Mr. Mickey van der Ven, was out constantly with a hamstring issue before he arrived at Tottenham Hotspur. I think that's quite well known. So I think there's a little bit of 50-50 there of, inept Tottenham Hotspur medical team, which goes back not only through Conte and Mourinho, but if you listen to some of the interviews with former players, it goes back into the mid-90s and beyond for Tottenham Hotspur. So it's not something recent. You look how long your man Anderton and I know Jason Cundy, who we love very much from TalkSport, have spoken about it and how well he was treated by our medical team. So it's not a new thing. Every team out there has got injuries. It just seems that we are susceptible to a greater percentage for whatever reason. It could be the stadium pitch, could be the fact that we play on trays and they've been built in a specific way and that causes injuries. As opposed to a normal sort of standard football pitch. That's been replicated at the training ground, although we're supposed to have the most state-of-the-art training ground, one of the best in the world. So maybe we're just going through this period of just unlucky Tottenham, or there is something a little bit deeper. But that crisis has opened up the door for many players like Spence, Reguilon, people like that to come into the team, show what they can do. And on the back of Saturday's performance, certainly from Reggie and Spence, I think there's some positives to take from some of the injuries that have gone on, if you can take some positives. But, it's it's not going to get any better anytime soon. I think the end of January, beginning of February, we might see turn the tide, but we might be in the lower, might be knocking on just a few points from the bottom three by that point if it carries on. So it needs to sort itself out pretty quick, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I guess the main reason why I kind of call it out, and I thought it was a good question from Bob, is that when you look at where we are in the league, we're struggling. What, we 12th or something now, or whatever, and you kind of think to yourself, like, how long will we keep going for this to start to turn around? Because it's got to start turning around soon, right? If we've got any chance of getting into Europe, because that's the key. You want to be able to guarantee that through your league standing. And I know at one point it was still very, very tight between the positions, but that feels like that's kind of getting away from us a little bit. So then you've got to put all your eggs in the basket of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. The Carabao Cup's not going to get easy, and we'll come on to it in a minute against Liverpool. So I kind of just feel like, the pressure's mounting against Ange, and I know he's had the backing of the board, the dreaded backing of the board, coming as well. Alex, what's your view on Postecoglou? Are you still backing that manager, or are you for sacking that manager now?
That's the question. I want to see him. I want to see him succeed. I can see where he's coming from. I mean, from he doesn't seem to have a lot of luck, like I say, with the training, with the players being injured. A lot of people don't like the way he plays his football, but we're all coming round to that. It is exciting. Most of it is exciting anyway. I want to back him, but at the same time, I want to see some results, because we're the ones walking down the street and everyone's taking the piss. You know, he's got to. I mean, I think we said this before Christmas. Oh, if we don't win against Wolves, he's gone. Oh, if we don't win against Newcastle, he's gone. It's like, if you don't win against Liverpool tomorrow, oh, he's gone. But he's not. He's got backing from the board, like you just said. That was confirmed today. I just want to see some more results, mate. It's all right, nice. It's all right him saying, we play good football, nice looking football, entertaining football. I think we said before, if you want entertainment, mate, go down to West End and look at a fucking show. We want to see football. We want to see some results. We want to see some progression. And at the moment, we're just treading water. Do you know what I mean? So
I get it. I would like to see. I would like to see a project really given some backing, and that's the thing that I keep hanging on to. Is this, for me? This isn't about Postecoglou. This is about the board and about the club making a stand to kind of move us forward. I do like the entertaining football. I do like when we play good football, we look good. We play really, really well, and we look good, and we blow teams apart. The only team that's really stitched us and really smashed us is Liverpool. Every other game that we've lost by one goal, right? So that says that we're not this massively open side who gets smashed every week, and all the goals are not coming from set pieces. All the goals are not coming from being so open at the back or anything like that. Some of it's just individual errors and mistakes and all the rest of it. And I just think to myself, I keep hanging on to the idea of, if we back the manager and really give him depth of squad, a combination of young, exciting players coming through and experienced players that know what they're doing, what could he achieve? Could he get somewhere? Mason, I think you wanted to say something, and I cut over you, mate. Go on. You want to say something?
The bigger question is if you sack Ange, who are you going to get? Because everyone else that we wanted is now in a job. Nagelsmann, Germany coach. Tuchel, England coach. Arne Slot, he's at Liverpool. Every single Amorim, all the managers we've ever been linked to are now in different jobs, which, if I'm being honest, are more exciting than our project. Because the past, we're fighting for Europa League every year now. I think if we sack Ange, it's just going to make a bigger problem. Because who are you going to get in? We've signed so many players that fit his system, his high intensity football. And I'm not being funny. Van der Ven without a high line, he's not a very good player. When it comes down to 1v1 and tidying up round the back, Van der Ven is world class. But if you can imagine like a low block or mid blocked Spurs, What's Van der Ven going to do? Because 9 times out of 10, when it's a one-on-one, he gets sat down. We are building for an Ange squad. We're not building for, say, whoever we get afterwards. We're building for Ange. If we sack him now, we're back at square one. And I think people have got to realise that this isn't Ange's fault that all the players are out. It is the medical department that has plagued us and absolutely broken down our players years after years after years. And it's always the manager that takes the flak for the poor run of results because of our players are always out. So it's until start of the season, I said that get the medical department out. We can't have it again. I got ripped a new one online saying what's the medical department got to do with this? Got to do with that. Look at it now. Every other team, in say let's even just bring up Odebear for an example. His ACL injury should take 3 to 4 months. We have been told he's going to wait until the end of the season until we see Odebear back. Why? Richarlison as well. He should have been a 1 month injury. He's been out for about 3. You could talk about Romero and Van der Ven when we play Chelsea. Who gave them the clear to play? Because it wasn't going, you're injured, you're playing. It's the medical department that have sat there and gone, they're fit to play. They're fit to play. They're both injured in the same game. Yeah. So I don't think it's down to Ange. I don't think it's down to the training. If we sack Ange, it's going to be we're going to be having the exact same conversation in about 6 months, maybe even a season's time. It's going to be players are out, results aren't getting there, get them gone. It's like even when we had Nuno, before we got Conte, the day before Nuno got sacked, there was a post going around from the Times saying Nuno has got full trust by the board. We sacked him a day later. So it doesn't matter what's coming out of the news right now. Ange could get sacked tomorrow morning, and we could get in Graham Potter. It's not going to fix the situation with injuries and so on. It's just going to keep repeating itself. And that's why this is a project. People need to start realising that projects take time. They're not down the road. Every year they got clowned for having Arteta in charge. Now, although they've won fuck all, they are challenging every year. They're challenging every year for titles. And that's what happens when you back a manager. If we sack Ange, we're going to be back to square one. And nothing's going to get fixed. Nothing.
Yeah. But Nigel says Potter's going to West Ham. So that's what Nigel says.
He's not.
Nigel's the man in the know in SDS. Generally, he
generally
has
a bit on the length of the contract to come out earlier this afternoon. Yeah. So, well, there you go.
Okay, well, look, listen, time's really ticking on, and I guess we really do need to talk about Tottenham versus Liverpool semi-final, first leg tomorrow. Thanks to all the South Dorset Spurs people that have given me their score predictions videos. So I appreciate that. I'll put that out after this is done. Alex, how are you feeling ahead of this match?
Yeah, smashing. I think it's going to be one thing. The only result we're going to have is, if you can keep warm because it's going to be cold. But no, I think again it'll be another entertaining game. I think we'll give them a run for their money. Hopefully, I'd like to see us win. I think we can. Keeping the faith. So I reckon it'll be an entertaining game.
Do you think like Spence and Region and maybe keep their places?
I'd like to say I think yes, because it'll be it makes it a bit interesting. Do you know what I mean? So either way, whatever team we put out, whatever team we've been putting out, it's always been a good game for me. So I know I'm probably not as experienced as you three, but I enjoy watching even our weakest team, which I always think's not that weak. So I think we're going to put a good team out if he keeps the players from Saturday. I hope to see Brandon playing. Realistically, we're not going to beat Liverpool, so give them a whirl, let them have a crack. Okay. But I would like to see a win. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Jason, how are you feeling? What's your view?
We're missing Madison and Sarr tomorrow night for his suspension, aren't we? So there's a couple of key people that are going to be out the door.
Betancourt's back now, right?
Yeah, he's back, and we should have a few others that have had a little bit of illness and a little bit of sickness, or whatever. But cup matches are strange things. I remember a few years ago we go up against quite a strong Chelsea, and we beat them in a semi-final. We've beaten Arsenal in semi-finals, and cup matches throw up these moments and I just hope we get over this 2 legs. We have these moments where we can. It's Tottenham Hotspur, and a few years ago, Liverpool used to be our nemesis. Do you remember that we used to get to a final or semi-final, and they used to beat us? We'd be 1-up until about the 89th minute. My just hope is we turn up and we get over the line. Somehow we get over the line, whether that's an Ajax moment, last few minutes or something like that in the second leg at Liverpool at Anfield. I know it's rare as horse shit that we ever win up there, but I'm just hoping it's one of them moments where we turn up and we make a game of it. Even their B team's strong, isn't it? Even their B team is pretty damn good. So it's rare. I'm not going to be there tomorrow night. I'm normally at the home games. I'm not going to be there tomorrow. I'm going to watch it on TV. And I just hope I'll be screaming at the telly if we get 1-up. It's almost like we need a handicap in this match.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's I watched Rob and Ramesh against Luke Littler the other day, and he gave them the double 1 to win, and he had 5-0-1 starters. So we're kind of on that kind of par really of give us a 5-0 lead, and maybe we'll do it. But yeah. Let's give it a go. Come on, it's a cup semi-final for goodness' sake. We're Tottenham.
Well, fingers crossed we don't give away a penalty in the first minute of the game.
That's it, isn't it? 28 seconds later or whatever.
28 seconds. Yeah.
We kind of owe him one for that. Mason, how are you feeling? Are you confident or?
It's Liverpool, never confident. Something always happens when we play them. It's always a cursed fixture, but you know what they say, magic of the cup. We might pull it off, we might not, but I'm going to go for a Spurs win. I'm going to say a cheeky 1-0 win. Very cheeky 1-0 win.
But we put 3 behind them, didn't we? Put 3 past them. So,
if Aaron's
we can score against them, can't we?
If Aaron's can score the defence, so we might. It might click. It might click. If we see the Spence and Reguilon come in and Gray can go back to right back or midfield and actually play his position and get in some decent people with decent defensive awareness, maybe. Yeah. But as I say, magic of the cup.
Yeah, so. you never know, right? Because bear in mind, we didn't think we were going to beat Man City, and we did. We didn't think we were going to beat Man United, and we did.
Yeah.
We've got Mikey Moore should be back on the bench. Bentancur is back.
That's another thing I wanted to say. Basuma's back now.
Basuma as well. So there is some strength in there. Defense wise, we've seen that Reguilon can hold his own, and we've seen that if needs be, Spence can play at centre back. We should have Dragushin back if he's not still ill. So we have got a bit more of a stronger side. I mean, it's disappointing that Maddison's not available. But yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. So anyway, listen. Score predictions, Alex. What are you going for?
I'm going to go. Don't know. 2-1 Spurs. I'll ask my cat. I've just noticed my cat there. Look.
Yeah.
I'll ask the cat. Yeah, 2-1.
2-1. Okay, Jason, what are you saying?
1-1, and we win the second leg. 2-1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Come on. Okay.
Got him, Mason.
I'm going to go for a 1-0. It's going to be tight, and then we're going to have to defend for our lives at Anfield. So that's what I reckon. Maybe even a draw at Anfield. You never know. But 1-0 up the Spurs.
Yeah, I hate to be the Debbie Downer on it all, but
Debbie Downer.
I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for a Desmond. I think it'll be 2-2. I can't see them. I can't see them putting out their full team like Brad asked. Is this a priority for them when they're going to go for the Premier League title? FA Cup to come. Although the FA Cup I think they've got quite an easy tie in that, so they may not need to rest too many players from it. So we'll just have to see what happens. I guess it is what it is. But for me, I'd just love to get one over on them. To be honest with you, there's loads of Liverpool fans down here in Bournemouth. Obviously, there'd be loads of Liverpool fans in Bournemouth.
Why?
You might as well get your benefits by the beach as opposed to by in Merseyside, right? So,
Bean dippers come out with benefit jokes now. Look out!
That's showing me age. But see, an 80s boy. See,
Yeah.
So anyway,
Sign on.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But whatever's going to happen, we're all going to be behind the team. We'll be all be there for the next game, and all be expecting a miracle come when we play at Anfield. So, but listen, all that's left to say is, thanks guys for coming on. Really appreciate the chat. We've gone over by 5 minutes or so.
You're welcome, Debbie.
I appreciate the extra time.
Sorry,
For all of you people that commented and have stayed along and watched the show, really appreciate that. Thank you very much for doing that. It means the world to know that there's people out there watching and listening to what we have to say. If you don't subscribe to this channel, can you please subscribe? It don't cost anything. All you've got to do is click the button to subscribe to it. I'm up to 1,962 subscribers. I'm so close to 2,000, which would be...
Hang on, Lee. So we are up to not you. We. There's a we there.
Right, you joined this very late in the day. I'll put the hard graft in. So I'm up to 1,962. So I'm very, very close to getting the magic 2,000, which would make me feel validated as an old man talking about football. This is a young man stuff. I probably shouldn't be doing it really, but I love it. I can't help it. I do.
We'd
love
be pleased for you as well, Debbie. We'd be pleased for you as well.
Sorry, Lee. Just before we go, what shirt are you wearing?
Hello.
What do you mean? What shirt?
What's he got on there?
I thought I saw a bit of claret underneath that pocket, Lee.
Oh
No, blue and white. Blue and white.
Okay.
For those of you in the know, this is a Capici. Can you see the G? This is a Capici. Proper gear, proper 80s gear. If you was around in the 80s, you'd know what that was all about. So anyway, listen, I'm going to call it there because we've rambled on very, very much. But again, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you all on the next one. Up the Spurs.
Go on to Tottenham.
Up the Spurs.